In the previous video we discussed, and in the previous week we discussed about linear mixed debit models with two or more nested levels of grouping. Now we discuss about models with crossed grouping structure. So when we speak about the nested grouping, we have subgroups within groups. Members of a certain subgroup belong, all members of a certain subgroup belong to the same main group in that case. And two grouping levels are said to be crossed if one of the levels does not specify subgroups of the other level. Recall this schematic illustration we discussed already a couple of weeks ago. So if we have a nested grouping, we can illustrate the data this way. So if we have a nested grouping structure, then we can illustrate it by this, and it shows that we have the level 1 groups. In this case we have these three groups, and groups 1, 2 and 3. Members of subgroups 1, 2 and 3 belong always to group 1. Members of subgroups 4 to 7 belong to group 2, and members of subgroups 8 and 9 belong to group 3. But if we have crossed grouping structure, we have a situation that is illustrated here. So if we have the three groups at the level 1, but the level 2 groups, the members of group 1, for example, they can belong to any of the level 1 groups. Members of group 2 in this level 2 grouping can belong to any of the level 1 groups, and so on. As an example about a dataset with cross grouping, let us take a new look on this dataset after thin. Now we have plotted the observations with respect to calendar year. Now our data includes calendar years from 1991 to 2005. So there is a total of 15 calendar years. And now we know that at a certain calendar year, all trees are under the same climatic conditions or same weather conditions. If we have a summer with high precipitation and warm weather, then trees are growing better, and all trees are growing better, not because these plots are from quite small area, so the weather conditions can be thought as similar to all trees at a certain year. So therefore, for example, we see from this data that if we look at calendar year 2000 here, we see that quite many of the trees seem to have grown very well. The ring basal area is very high for calendar year 2000. And on the other hand, for 1993, those all trees have grown quite poorly. So, and also for 2003, the trees have grown rather poorly. So it seems that these calendar years are providing a grouping to the data. So the data can be seen as trees grouped to calendar years, or observations. I mean observations grouped to calendar years. So for every calendar year we have several observations. On the other hand, we have several observations per tree. So if we look at a certain tree, it also remains at the same level in the line. So for example, if we try to follow this line here, which is one individual tree here, so we see that it roughly keeps its position among the other trees over time. So therefore, it seems that we have group structure, and it seems that the observations, on the other hand, observations of the same tree are somehow similar, more similar to each other than two observations from different trees. And on the other hand, observations of different trees of the same calendar year are similar to each other compared to observations of different trees from different calendar years. So we have two grouping structures, and we have a justified reason to assume that there is correlation both within the observations of the same year and within the observations of the same calendar year. So this is one example. We have trees and calendar years in tree growth data. And then mothers and nests in the bird data. So we can have sometimes ecologists do experiments where they move the eggs from some bird nests to others, so that the mother that raises the small bird is not the genetical mother of the bird, and then the genetical mothers have, on the other hand, one effect, and then the nests or the raising mother has another effect, and they both can have effect on the behavior or whatever things we are analyzing for the birds. The third example is overlapping aerial images. So we can have an area, and then there are so let's assume that these dots here trees or whatever plants growing in an area, and then we take several aerial images. So let's say that this is one aerial image, and then this is another aerial image, and then there be even a third aerial image like this. And then we analyze the aerial images, and then, for example, this particular tree is visible both in image 1 and image 2. And now, whenever we take an image or aerial image, there are some specifications for the image or the weather conditions and whatever things are happening in such a way that all trees that are seen in the same aerial image are affected by the same image effects. On the other hand, the tree properties, so this is the same tree, so the properties of the tree are visible in both images, and that's why this is also causing a random effect cross structure, where we have on one hand we have a tree effect, and on the other hand we have the image effect in each observation. So in this case, the individual trees would be our observations, and we would have several observations of the same tree, because the tree has been observed in several images. As a fourth example, let us take an ecological sample plot where we have some, for example, we can have some willows or whatever plants, and they are cloned. So we have clones of several clones of the same species, and then we have divided them also to sample plots. And then, for example, if we have 10 clones and 10 sample plots, so that each plot includes a total of 5 replicas of each clone, then on the other hand the clones can be treated as a random effect, and then on the other hand also the sample plots are random effects, and all clones occur in all of the sample plots. The difference of this experiment to the previous ones are that now we also have replicates within the combination. So the previous examples I have discussed here are such a cases that each observation belongs only to one image and one tree, or to 1 year and one tree. But here, I mean there is only. So in these previous examples, we can have for each combination of tree and calendar year, we have only one observation, or for each combination of tree and image, we also have only one observation. But here in this case, we have 5 observations for a certain combination of clone and sample plot. This makes a difference to the model formulation, because when we analyze this kind of data, we can have one more random effect in the data. We can have clone effect, sample plot effect, and then we can have also the combination, the interaction between cloned and sample plot in this kind of situation. But in these cases, we cannot have interaction by combination of the two levels. In this case, we also can have several cases. So if we have moved not only one egg of a certain mother to a certain nest, but if we have moved several of the eggs to the same nest.